Hello, kids, and welcome to the Domestic Disturbance Podcast. 3 comics, 3 opinions, 1 shit show. Featuring Mike Keegan.
Are you just going to talk over me the whole time? Is that what you're going to do? All right, thank you. I hope you enjoyed that episode. Thank you very much.
Carla Oakerson.
I tolerate you. I think I tolerate you very well.
You don't tolerate me at all.
I tolerate you. Believe that. I certainly tolerate all your horse shit. Look at me, I'm being tolerant right now. Look how tolerant. I'm tolerating it.
And Tim Saliani.
See,
Bill Clinton suicides people. Was the name of my high school band.
Be sure and stop by the Domestic Disturbance Podcast Facebook page to check out any new shows, upcoming events, or to leave us some hate mail. Music from our podcast is from the hardcore band Bore. You should check them out on Spotify and Bandcamp, where you can put a little something in the hat for them and purchase their music like good little consumers. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the arguments.
Thank you for tuning in. This is this week's episode of the Domestic Disturbance Podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. We are going to have a fun show. It should be pretty interesting, considering the day's events. Guys, if you're listening, please like this. Please share it. Tell your friends to share it. Let's do the thing. And we're here. It's Tuesday night, 9:30. Thank you for tuning in here on Govs Radio. I am Mike Keegan, Tim Saliani, Carla Oakerson, and our guest this week, the lovely, handsome, beautiful, hilarious Will Sharon.
Yay!
Well, Will hair. Look at
What's going on?
hair.
I'm trying to hide my hair privilege.
How about them Islanders, sir?
Oh, you know what? If only they played like this every game.
Yep.
Everybody's favorite teacher, Will Sharon.
Yeah, El Professor. I had a motorcycle helmet made up and everything, but Jim Belushi stole my class. He's a mathematicus, man.
Oh, that fucking movie's so good.
I turned in my Chicago accent. Yeah, I'm mathematicus, man. Best part is Louis Gossett Jr. You ever play football, boy? And he just tosses this dude right over the staircase.
Louis Gossett Jr. is the best part of that movie.
Yeah.
100%.
And the leader, the gang leader, who was like, he went from prior to that. I remember him being one of the guys, one of the good guys. He was on the Resistance in V because his brother was killed. But he was in so many. He had so many good parts that sometimes I confused him with the guy from DC Cab and the guy that talked like this. Not Family Jewels from
yeah.
Weird Science. There's another dude had that like raspy voice.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Like, no way you don't.
You know what? This is the most 420 conversation to ever have on 420.
I don't think any of us are high.
No, it's just ridiculous. I'm drinking tea.
I'm drinking seltzer water. Great favorite seltzer water. We're born.
I have
today.
Crystal Light Fruit Punch by 4C.
It is 420, the birthday of one of the most evil, hated characters in American history, Terry McNeely.
Dave Smith. Also Dave Smith.
Is it Dave Smith too?
It is Dave Smith's birthday. Happy birthday, Dave Smith.
Happy birthday, Dave Smith, and my favorite Baldwin.
My favorite Baldwin, Terrence McNeely.
Is he a Baldwin?
I have a picture that
Do you remember that there was actually a period in time where if you called somebody a Baldwin, you were calling them a hottie?
Yep.
I do remember that.
Foolish.
Yeah, from Sliver to Biodome. Right in that area.
I believe
it was all the same.
Look at that, Terry McNeely.
It was all the same Baldwin too.
Terrence McNeely.
I found that picture of Terry.
I mean, Dennis is the best one, right? Isn't he the one that fucking ripped up that hotel room and got arrested?
Yeah.
Dennis Baldwin?
I think. I don't know. There's got to be. Isn't there 85 of them?
My favorite is Adam Baldwin.
There's an Adam Baldwin?
Yeah, he was Animal Mother in Full Metal Jacket.
I like Gregaro Baldwin.
There's got to be.
I'm good friends with the lesser known Baldwin sister, Guadalupe Baldwin.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's also Alex Second's fake Spanish wife, Hysterica.
Guadalupe Baldwin?
Yeah. He married a girl from Boston, Hysterica.
BRB people.
Oh,
She just disappeared. That was fucking incredible.
that was pretty wild. CGI.
I'll be right back.
Oh,
Poof.
gonna take a dump.
She went right into one of those books.
And like that, she's back. We are throwing everything at the stoners today. By the way, this is amazing. Oh God! Did you see that there was people having pot parties? It was ridiculous.
Why do you say it so shocked? Like you've never heard of anything so wild?
No, I haven't since I was 17. That's the thing.
Really?
This was a cool day when I was a senior in high school.
You know what? I mean,
literally every year people do pot parties on 420. Where the
no,
fuck
it's extra right now because the state just legalized it, so it's a little bit more now. So, but like I'm talking to the point where like I've never. Here's the thing: I've never seen a pot party where they actually have balloons and cake. Like I haven't seen it.
Sounds like your friends suck.
I've seen parties where there's balloons and cake that has pot in it,
yeah,
but it's not to celebrate it. It was just one of those things that somebody happened to have there, and the joke was you would find out that
like
that balloon being passed around was not.
And first of all, grow up, losers. Do some real drugs like cocaine.
I'm a real patient. I inject bleach into my system.
Note to self: make sure Mike leaves the bathroom unlocked.
Speaking of somebody that looked like my pillow guy, Mike Lindell.
Tim, you were having a phenomenal hair day today, Tim.
I was,
God.
and I just wanted exactly what I got. The beating that I got, which was amazing. Those fucking memes had me roaring all goddamn day. Amazing.
He needed a little extra attention today.
Well, we all need attention sometimes.
So he put up a very meme-worthy picture of himself.
I wanted a beating, and I got it. Deservedly.
Like, you get a beating. First of all, you had like a ton of women being like, "Oh, you look so handsome with your blue hair."
Stop it!
And then you had
like all people I'm like related to, they're like, "Oh, you're such an adorable lad." Nah, it wasn't that.
Nice blue.
Oh, whatever. Shut
Dude,
it.
your hair.
You look great in that dress and lipstick.
That's true.
Your
I do.
hair.
I think your aunt wants to bang you.
Your hair destroyed so many Howleys on the North Shore. It's like insane.
That's a fucking deep cut.
I knew you'd appreciate that.
I need a fucking haircut.
That's what I like about you.
That's ridiculous. Wow. This is I can't believe we've gotten this far without talking about everything that happened today, but fair enough.
We're
avoiding because Mike is gonna say some fucking heinous shit, and then Tom Kelly's gonna be in here fucking lecturing us for a change.
That was something that happened.
Then Tom Kelly's gonna come in here and be like, "I told you guys, you need to straighten up and fly right."
Who's Tom Kelly?
The guy was on last week. Thanks for
we had him last week. He does warm up for like Good Morning America.
I thought we weren't allowed to talk.
He was
about
funny,
that.
super nice guy.
Yeah. So he's the warm-up comic. He told you guys about staying clean.
He told Mike that Mike can't say the things that he does because it's not okay.
PC.
If I were looking for a career in this, then I would.
He told Mike to straighten up and fly right. Get your shit together, MK.
Yeah. Well, we'll see in a few minutes how good that advice.
I'll just log off. I'll just be out. As a matter of fact, let me just make sure the leave button. I have my mouse on it and go.
I remember years ago when I was doing sketch writing, taking sketch writing, actually taking a class on writing for like variety shows and stuff. the guy that was the teacher was the head writer for Letterman for a long time, and then left for Leno, and then went back to Letterman, and even his cadence was like Letterman, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And he used to tell us, you know, if you're gonna do for not like an SNL variety show, but more like Conan or whoever was at the time, he was like, you know, if you're gonna do like a daytime show like that, he said your target audience is always Midwestern moms that are on bowling teams. And he was like, if you can hit that, and I remember being like, what? I was like, I don't even know what that sense of humor is because I'm none of those. But his whole thing was that, like, if you want to get ratings, if you want to be successful, that's who you write for as far as a morning or like afternoon kind of show goes. So my guess is that's probably the humor you would also want as well.
That's what you'd want, exactly, like for a daytime show. Like I was just telling him before, I just had to do a 45-minute Zoom show for a synagogue men's club, squeaky clean on Zoom, 45 minutes, and it's a struggle because like you're editing in your head. So I have jokes that probably would be a little bit off color, but like I would catch myself stumbling because I'm self-editing while I'm telling them.
Did it feel more like 40 years?
Oh, dude, it felt like the longest time. First of all, the guy who put the thing together ended up he did a set like before me. He does like 10 minutes, and he's never done comedy in his life, so it was just like.
Why would you allow that?
Because he's paying me a lot of money.
It doesn't matter. You should just be like, listen, if you've never done comedy before, Zoom is not the place to start out.
For the money he paid me, I would have put nipple tassels on and shaken my breast for 40 minutes.
I mean,
oh my God, that's gotta be.
I did that for a couple of.
You know what it is though. Like his humor was going over well because the average age of the people watching the Zoom was like 97. So they liked his humor because he was doing like a bunch of hacky shtick, and he did some song parodies and stuff. So he did like 10 minutes, and then I went up to do 45 after him, and it was a challenge, but
also you figure you can't get consistent laughs because you don't know if they're running low on their oxygen tanks.
Exactly.
So you also, this guy, I mean, to us the guy may have bombed, but he also may know he needs to space those jokes out because but
he knew everybody, like they were all his friends, so they were like 60 people watching.
Yeah, Grandma Mertzel might in between pups have to remove the oxygen tank and what was that? Lindy's baby? Was that the punchline?
Oh man, 40 minutes though, that's a fucking long ass time.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, it's like
what was it?
Felt like an eternity.
Really? How many people were logged on?
There were about like 60 people logged on watching.
Jesus. And they all probably muted themselves in black boxes because they don't want to be seen.
Oh, dude, everybody was on mute. Half the people, you just see them like they don't know what the hell they're doing with the cameras and stuff. Exactly like Will's doing,
yeah. Or they start talking in the background. The mic goes on and they start talking. They're just having a conversation, yelling at the dog or whatever the fuck it is. It's almost impossible. I don't know how you did 40 minutes. That's fucking amazing.
While giving Grandpa a hand job. Yeah.
What? No, it's Amazon. Tell them to. No, it's Amazon. No, I'm on mute.
Jeffrey Toobin bought his ticket.
No, he didn't go yet. I told him that the prune juice will loosen the stool, but the Metamucil, it binds him. No, I'm on mute. Don't be ridiculous. I'm on mute.
So about eating butter in West Virginia, like, how do you fight through that? How are you fighting through? I couldn't do that. That's fucking ridiculous. They just yammer on as if nothing else is going on and the mic's on. And then you hear the fucking moderators like, can you please mute the mic? Exhausting.
To clarify, by they, you mean people on Zoom shows.
You can tell the moderator to mute everybody. Like,
yeah, but then what are you doing comedy for?
Go for your period.
But I don't want anybody muted. I want to hear laughter like that.
Right.
Otherwise, it throws your timing off. And
Right.
it's 60 people. You can't select. Oh, mute Ethel. You know. Like,
Yeah, you can.
I don't want to hurt people's
You
feelings.
literally can. If you're the moderator, you can go in and mute whoever you want.
But I would be the one telling the moderator, so I'm not gonna be like halfway through my set and be like, "Oh, Ethel, go." She
You
hasn't
should
shut
have
the
just
fuck
opened
up.
the chat and been like, "Hey, mute this person, mute that person," or you should have gotten their text message, their text number.
She has to go get the Hamantashen out of the oven.
Oh, I love Hamantashen. You don't like Hamantashen? That's some racist shit.
No,
right
I
there.
don't get it. I don't understand Hamantashen. I don't like it.
You don't like Hamantashen? You're an
No.
animal.
It's a weird shape. It
You're
hurts
a weird
in
shape.
my mouth. You're a weird shape.
You're a weird shape.
You're a weird shape.
You're a weird shape.
Oh, this
Your
is how it
stupid
used
books.
to be. Yay.
Don't tell me I'm a weird shape. You don't even have shoulders on this camera angle. You just look like a thumb. You look like a talking thumb.
He's the head detective from
Look like a plum.
You look like a plum.
You look like a plum.
You look like a prune.
You are a prune.
Hey, Tim, my dad could beat up your dad.
Yeah. My grandma and your grandma
Oh.
sitting by the fire.
My grandma.
Oh
So we
my
should
god.
talk about the big news today, right?
How?
Dogecoin went down, right?
Yeah.
I thought we were going to talk about the bigger thing, how the Islanders beat the Rangers.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the news I heard of. I don't know.
it's pretty much all that was going on today. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good night.
I mean, I was on pins and needles all day waiting for this outcome. And, like I say, boys, we did it.
That's right.
Bring on the Capitals.
Well, before we get into the big thing, Dogecoin did go down today. Today was supposed to like on like the Reddit threads, like today was supposed to be like the biggest day for Dogecoin because all the stoners were going to try to push it to 69 cents for 420, and then they just forgot, I guess.
Why did they do it to like 42 cents for 420?
Well, it was just about at 42 cents. It's like 37 right now.
So why did they push it to $4.20?
Because that would be impossible. There's not enough. That's way too much volume. That would be like $10 trillion worth of volume in that.
I was
why'd
going
they
to
do
buy
that?
low side, sell high, but
If it went to $4.20, I would be a millionaire right now.
so what is Dogecoin?
I don't know. It's so stupid. It's a cryptocurrency based on a meme.
Based on a name? What does that mean?
A
A
meme.
meme.
A meme. What
Yeah.
meme?
Doge is like a Shiba Inu that they use in memes and stuff.
I do love a good Shiba Inu.
Yeah. And it was supposed to be just a big joke, and then all the Reddit nerds fucking blew it up, and it's an actual cryptocurrency now that
By the way, Shiba Inu, daughter of Jackie Emu.
Allegedly.
Related to Limo Emu? Not so much Doug.
I didn't know what the hell that meant.
Fuck
for the
yeah,
whole
we're
time.
rolling, Tim. Fuck yeah.
Limu is Liberty Mutual.
Yes.
Yeah.
It took me forever to figure that out.
Well, I don't get it.
Well, we got
Limu.
And Doug.
What?
You ever see that commercial called Limu Emu?
No.
my favorite one is the cell phone. When it's on vibrate, when he's like, "Oh, that's like," he gets like electrocuted,
Yeah.
and then when he gets wet, he jumps in the bag of Islander peanuts.
Oh God. I still can't believe that that's a thing where like landing next to at some whatever game that I'm at starts talking about a fucking Dogecoin as if
I know. I know.
they got the hot
they've been-
stock tip.
Like they've been a hedge fund manager for years and years. They're talking about this. Like I work with this guy and kid, and he's like kind of a stoner and stuff. And it was on Friday when like Dogecoin was starting to just blow up for the weekend. And he's like, "Oh man, can't believe I sold my Dogecoin." He sold like $25 worth of it, but he was like bummed out all day.
Yeah.
And he's just talking about Doge all day. I'm like, this kid is high off his ass. And but it's weird, like talking about like cryptocurrency. Like he used to he was telling me he used to buy mushrooms online with Bitcoin, and how much Bitcoin he had just gotten rid of because it was worth nothing, and now all that Bitcoin that he was using when he was like 17 years old would be worth like $50,000 right now.
And you're like, that's great. I only came back because you forgot the honey mustard in the bag.
I said sweet and sour, sir.
I asked for straws. Sounds like a real doge bag if you ask me.
It's funny. It's like everybody that's discussing stock tips now are baristas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unreal. Just anybody, and it's all because of the GameStop thing, and now they all think that they just have it figured out, as if rich people are just going to be like, you know what? No, we're not going to figure this out.
It's your turn,
right?
Yeah, it's your time to make money. We're fine. That's
good.
We're not going to short stocks anymore. That's fine.
Yeah, I always wanted to see how you live.
My grandkids are going to go to college with kids that are old money from the old Mario Kart stock. We're old money. We have Locust Valley Lockjaw. Clearly, you didn't know about the Yoshi Toadstool saga.
The Discovery Zone stock that they're trying to short made me a rich man.
I invested in PewDiePie Industries.
You balked at Five Nights at Freddy Logan Paul conglomerate, but clearly you didn't know that FGTV stock would go through the roof.
Exactly.
How pedestrian.
Five Nights at Freddy's Logan Paul. Oh, Carla's lost.
I'm tired.
Really?
Oh, that George Floyd thing happened today.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah. I'll say this. If I know we don't really, everyone may be watching say, I was very surprised he was not that he was guilty on all of them. I really thought that he might not that I think he's innocent, but I really thought that he may have gotten one of the charges, maybe not guilty, because of reasonable doubt. I don't doubt that that he was guilty, but I think I was surprised that he didn't get not guilty on one of like the lesser charges or something, you know.
I heard rumors that there was some kind of an actual connection between like George Floyd and Chauvin's wife, like they had a relationship, and that's
they were bouncers at the same bar. I know they were bouncers at the same bar. Like,
yep.
You had to have come across this guy. It's not like even
he knew.
It's not like Gordy Barnes.
Hopefully they did security somewhere together.
Yeah, at a bar.
I don't know, but but they like. So I looked into it a bit, and like I said, Derek Chauvin, piece of garbage. 2 of the 3 charges, though, I don't think should have stuck. That's the 3rd degree.
Were you following the trial?
I was, and
you heard the testimony.
Before you get all condescending, I'm going to jump.
Condescending, but like you didn't follow the trial. So how?
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Can I talk, and then you can respond?
Yeah, hold on.
I'm about to bring you into this because I'm saying I'm not a lawyer. I don't know things. I followed the trial. I did my research. The 3rd degree murder charge that he was brought up on, and maybe you could provide some positive.
I cannot regale you. I did not follow the trial. I don't know what evidence was presented. I know there were 25 witnesses. I don't really know who they are or like what evidence was presented. I was actually surprised to hear today from a couple of different people that there was like a connection that between the wife and George Floyd that apparently was like being kept under wraps. I don't know if that came out at trial. I know
none of that came out.
No, I don't know that to be the case.
I know that there were rumors that they knew each other, that they bounced
together.
Well,
that is the thing. Is that I think that did come out that they did know each other and they bounced at a bar.
And there was beef that Chauvin, Floyd was a regular. He was a bouncer It's you can, like out there, you can be a cop and moonlight as something else, and that's what most of these guards were. But there was a difference in how they got paid. So if you were an outside street guy, working the velvet rope or whatever outside, they were given cash, whereas the other guys inside were given checks. Yeah. So from what I remember, Chauvin was an outside guy that got cash. Floyd was a guy that would get a check, and supposedly there was resentment. The guys that get checks didn't like that they had to now that's an inconvenience. You now have to go to, even if it's a checks cash place, you now have to go.
Yeah, you got to report that.
Yeah, so
you have to dip into all his counterfeit 20s and
so right. So supposedly, long before this actual trial, that was a thing that came up, that they had a confrontation at one point, and I don't remember this ever coming up because I watched the trial every day when I had free time. I don't ever remember it coming up in the trial that they had a little bit of a history where it was over the checks, the way that the checks were handed out, and it wasn't necessarily him versus him. It was just in general, guys that get paid by check. There's a resentment that they have to wait a day to get paid because the checks cash places are closed. But still, even, I just think regardless, they had to have known each other from work. And if it was deliberate or if it wasn't deliberate, the defense attorney, his job was not to prove his innocence. It was just to give reasonable doubt. I thought that there was enough reasonable doubt for certain things, the fact that, everyone's got a body cam. He knows everyone's got their phone out. He knows that there's city camera lights everywhere, that literally everything is being documented. Why would you deliberately kill somebody? So
that's one thing also, like I was going to get into, and like I said, you can provide some constructive feedback, Carla, because I'm not passed by the bar or anything. And they didn't, on two of the charges, they didn't prove the intent to murder. Like the third degree murder was based on depraved heart murder.
The difference?
Depraved heart murder. Like basically, if somebody were to throw a brick off a freeway, or if they were to shoot a gun into a crowd, they may have been intending to kill somebody, but somebody got killed randomly. There was no intent to kill George Floyd, so that kind of casts a little shadow on the third degree murder charge. The second degree murder requires a felony assault that results in murder. That's like if you're robbing a store and
everybody hates that law. Everyone hates that.
Yeah.
People don't like that.
Why?
People don't like a felony murder charge. Nobody likes that.
Right.
They don't get it. Defendants don't get it. Most of the public doesn't get it. That if we just all decide to rob a bank, right, and we're all together, and I go in there and I shoot somebody, we're all on. You guys are all getting murder charges.
Yeah,
but that
people don't really like that.
Yeah, exactly. But that means that you went in there with the intent to commit a felony.
Well, what happens 9 times out of 10 is the other people will, at least one or two of them, will flip on the person that actually pulled the trigger, get a lesser charge, and then fucking call it a day. That's generally what happens. But
that's fine, but people just don't, particularly like the way that's charged. People don't like that, and conspiracies. People don't like the way conspiracies are charged, and people don't like the way the felony murder gets handed out.
I agree, and because but like you said, that they didn't prove that he intended to commit a felony,
right?
Even because also the way that he had George Floyd on the ground, that's a practice that's approved by the Minneapolis Police Department.
I think that police officers testified that it's not.
That is not right, including his immediate supervisor. Testified against him.
But they did argue though that what they did to restrain him, at least his defense attorneys argued though that the move he did at the time it actually was, and then they showed how when he said, when he was having a panic attack and hyperventilating, he was claustrophobic. They said, the fact that you hear him saying, "I'll roll down the window for you. I'll turn on the air conditioner." They had said, like, this is a guy. They were trying to say the demeanor of how Chauvin was, that that they were trying, understand that he was freaking out. Aside from the fentanyl, the side that he was freaking out about being put in the car. And they're like, "Listen, you're under arrest. Like, please, man, don't put me in that." Like, "Listen, I'll roll down the window. We'll turn on the air conditioner." Like, and then when they put him in on the other side, like they had been trying to comment it, but he kept fighting, trying to go in there. Yeah. That they all are. They actually, in the department, you are allowed to use, lethal and deadly force depending on the circumstances. And they had said that that one of the arguments was that in the police department in Minneapolis, maybe it was the state, I don't know, that he was within the rights to do all this too. Not necessarily that the move was approved, but that he was within his rights as a police officer to detain him in whatever means necessary. But even still, that it was they said that the actions, the defense was arguing the actions that he did was not deliberately to harm. So what they did was they defined the word deliberate. They defined the word intentional several times, because that was in the charges. So in the prosecution, it said for the deliberate and intentional murder. So it went into semantics of, based on this definition, can you arguably say so? I think a few of the jury members, when they were being interviewed, had said, I've seen a little bit. I haven't seen enough. I question why somebody would resist arrest. So there were certain things. So that's why I thought that you may get a few, that maybe he might get a not guilty, or a hung jury or something.
Because you know what I mean, and I don't say, but the jury had really no choice but to find him guilty on all three charges, because they feared for their lives. I mean, they were being they felt threatened.
I don't think that's
the case either.
That's how I feel. I mean, it's not a fact, but that's how I feel. I mean, first, and listen, the jury was never sequestered.
They were absolutely sequestered.
Yeah, they
weren't.
Yes, they were.
They weren't. They were not sequestered.
They were.
I'm going to look into that, but they were not. They weren't sequestered, and that's my. That's what I'm saying. But
when were they sequestered, though?
I don't know. They said they came out of being sequestered to give the jury verdict.
Right.
So they must have been sequestered at some point.
Well, they were talking about
to a point where they wouldn't be able to hear things that are being said in the media and by Maxine Waters and.
Listen, fucking Maxine Waters. I'm tired of like the focus or the spotlight being on a Maxine Waters, just like the fucking left focuses on the dummy that is Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's the same fucking shit from both of them. I'm tired of it.
It is, but it's just relevant because the things that she said can be viewed as being threatening.
Every argument about this goes out the fucking window when it's past minute fucking 5 of your knee on somebody's fucking neck, and them slowly you start to see the point that this guy is gonna lose his life.
I'm not saying anything that Derek Chauvin. I'm not saying anything about him, but the shit that Maxine Waters said can't be swept under the rug.
Why not? Why isn't she allowed to speak?
Because it's threatening to the jury.
Why isn't she allowed to speak?
She's trying to incite violence.
She's not. She didn't threaten the jury in any way.
The only point of her to fly to Minneapolis is to put pressure on the jury to convict him on all 3 charges.
How was she putting pressure on the jury?
She even said she called for a guilty verdict for premeditated murder, which she wasn't even being charged for. She's a fucking idiot.
She's there.
How does that threaten the jury?
She's there for photo ops and votes. I don't think she's there. I don't think she cares one way or another. I think she's there for vote, like any politician.
Her being there is an effort to tamper with the case.
I think with Carla Rittenhouse, the same thing. You'll have people for Carla Rittenhouse.
She's an elected official that's saying you better convict this guy. You better make the right decision.
Okay, but who did she talk? Which member of the jury did she speak to?
She's speaking in general, and then not they hear.
How did they hear about this?
I'm sorry.
How did they hear about this?
How did they hear about this? They have newspapers. They could.
You mean the newspapers that they're instructed not to read when you're on the jury?
Yeah. They have
so
access to it. They weren't.
But they're not supposed to read the newspapers, and they're not supposed to watch the news while you're on a jury.
People aren't supposed to do a lot of things. She should have kept.
So then she could have said whatever she wanted. If they decide that they're not going to follow the rules, that's their issue. She has.
But the things she said can't be swept under the rug. She's tampering.
It can be swept under the rug because they're instructed not to read newspapers or watch the news, so they didn't know what she said. She's
just misinformed. Premeditated.
But they don't know what she said. They don't know what she said.
There was no tracheal or arterial trauma to George Floyd's neck either.
How do you know?
Because I know. I've been watching the trial.
No, you haven't. You just said before you weren't following the trial.
You asked me if I was following the trial before, and I said yes.
Okay, who testified to that? Because I'm going to look up their testimony right now. Tell me who said it.
I don't know. Look it up.
Examiners.
But you got to tell me you followed. I didn't follow the trial.
There were two different medical examiners.
Why do I don't got to do
and
nothing?
The two different medical examiners had two conflicting opinions, right? As usually is the case in a trial, that you have your defense expert and then you have your prosecution expert, and they'll cancel each other out.
Right.
Okay. So, but just common sense lets you know that a human being doesn't survive without oxygen after more than 6 minutes.
Human beings.
This person knelt on another human being's neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. That is 3 minutes and 29 seconds longer than a human brain can survive without oxygen. So I don't need to hear from a medical examiner because I have a fucking working brain because my brain hasn't been deprived of oxygen for 9 minutes and 29 seconds.
And your brain also isn't full of 3 times the lethal amount of fentanyl and a 75% arterial blockage, and you're not having a panic attack. I mean,
okay, that's fine. So
Derek Chauvin
all the more reason that someone shouldn't be kneeling on my neck.
Contributed to his death. That's why that manslaughter charge is valid.
All the charges are valid. I think that I think that given the rumors that there was already history between them, I don't know why they didn't charge him with murder one. I don't know why they didn't say this was premeditated.
Those are rumors. Show me the facts where there's history between them.
Okay, well, I mean, we all just said that. Everyone literally here just said that there are people saying that there was history between them. You didn't have a problem when Will was saying it, but you have a problem when I'm saying it.
Tell me where to look it up right now.
Why are we even parsing this fucking fact that this guy fucking murdered this other guy? He did that shit. We all watched it. We all watched it. He just got convicted of it. So like you can split hairs about charges and whatever else. This guy caused this guy's death.
Contributed to his death.
Dude,
you know, under the law, you take your victim as you find him. So if you have somebody who has osteogenesis imperfecta and you don't know that they do, but you push them, they shatter every bone in their body and die. That's your problem.
Elizabeth Bettapede.
You go to jail for it. Absolutely.
Elizabeth Bettapede said, I think they got sequestered in the last few days. So
in the last few days they got sequestered.
Well, the closing arguments were Friday.
A 3-week trial.
Right.
The closing arguments were Friday, and then yesterday they broke for lunch. I thought today was the first day that they actually deliberated or fabricate. I can't remember the NXS word. Mediate, I forget.
They got those cards from Bob Dylan.
I never thought that he was 100% innocent. I was surprised that I really felt that it was going to be not easy, but not as tough for the defense attorney just to try to raise reasonable doubt. Not that he was trying to prove that the guy's innocent or the guy's a saint. But like I really thought that he was going to push more the fentanyl, the videos that aside from the kneeling, the videos of like onlookers across the street, people's reactions. Why is he resisting? Doesn't he know they're going to lock him up? Like I really thought that this guy would have done better. And to your point about the jury not reading the news or anything like that, the defense attorney even made a point yesterday to say, when I come home, we're hours here. There's hours I'm working on this case. I turn on TV just to like escape this. And even regular TV shows are incorporating it into their script. So he was like, I think he was trying to, because he was trying to get a mistrial. The judge was like, not happening. Yeah. And I could see though, aside from, so say you stay away from the news all the time, I could see a juror turning on TV, just like Chicago Med or whatever, where they're like, where the two doctors like just in passing talk about, I just got my second vaccine. Like there's certain things that shows do that. They talk about hot topics and they work it into their conversation. So you can't escape that. But like, what are you supposed to do? Like you got a job to do.
I'm not saying I disagree with the verdict, but in the back of every one of those jurors' heads, they said, "Oh, if we let this guy off on any of these charges, they're gonna burn the fucking cities down."
I would definitely. I mean, whether the other jurors knew that the one got doxxed by CBS, I think with technology and stuff, as if I was a juror, I would be terrified that they didn't look for every one of us. So say, and I don't mean this trial, I mean any trial. Like any trial, I would be worried that you're doing your civic duty, and someone somewhere finds out you were on it, or they just get the generic list, male, white, 40s, blah 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 blah, and they automatically associate that you must have voted not guilty, and people. I think that's a reality some people are afraid of. I'm not saying they all voted guilty out of fear either, but I would hope that if I was a juror there, whether I voted guilty or not, that like once you know the outcome, I would be like, you're getting us the hell out of here, like earlier. Like let's maybe at 4:00 they actually had the verdict and they just delayed it so that they could get out of safety. Because either way, one way or another,
I'm sure that was the case.
I would be terrified.
I'm sure that was the case.
You have to poll the jury when you get the verdict, so they had to be present when the verdict was read.
I would be for a high profile case like this, more so because of racial tensions, more so than like Lacey Peterson, Scott Peterson, like more than something like that. I would be worried because it's such a polarizing case. I would be worried that they're going to come after us. Look at like the OJ trial, regardless of what you think of OJ, a lot of them started writing books right away about why I think he did it, why I didn't think he did it, OJ, why I think I did it.
They all obviously absolutely had the fear that they would come after them, and all the riots would be on their hands.
Assuming that they had fear. I think they just watched the video of someone being murdered in plain sight, and that was basically it.
The fear that was imposed on them is
what fear was imposed on them? Who did you speak to?
Here's my issue with it, if you forgive me for a second. My issue with that,
it's an absolute that if Derek Chauvin was found not guilty, there would be riots in every city in this fucking country right now.
Making that argument, though, making that argument is absolving him in some small way of the only reason this guy's going to go to jail is because they had to do it because everybody's going to burn the fucking city down. That's almost a defense of him.
I'm not saying he shouldn't be going to jail, but I don't think he should be found guilty on all three charges. Just from following the case.
I'd be interested to know.
Derek Chauvin's a piece of shit. There was definitely reckless disregard.
Testimony, and whose testimony, since you followed it?
Huh?
I'd be interested to know whose testimony you watched since you followed it.
Henry Hoover.
I mean, you're just lying. You're literally just lying. You didn't follow the testimony. You're just saying inflammatory shit because you're like, well, I don't believe.
I'm not saying any
that it should have been the other way because you think that you can just
I'm giving you my opinion.
You can just paint over it by saying like, I don't think that he wasn't guilty, but here are all the reasons why I think that he shouldn't have been found guilty.
I didn't say I didn't think he should be found guilty. I said I don't think he should have been found guilty on all three charges. He is guilty of being an assistant in the murder and the death of George Floyd.
So who kneeled on his neck then?
Derek Chauvin is a contributing factor, along with a belly full of Class A narcotics.
Okay, so what?
So what?
So what?
But Carla, that's the thing, is that's what the DA, that's what he had to really focus on, which he didn't. Was not to prove that this guy didn't contribute to it, but like if it seemed like he tried to make it more about, okay, let's have this medical expert, let's talk about the kneel and all this stuff. But like, I feel like he should have focused more on, because all of us that casually watched it or were glued to it, I think a lot of people would have said, like, the guy had drugs in him. Could he have overdosed? Sure. Do I know about fentanyl? No. I think the DA should have had more people talk about fentanyl and its effects and all this stuff, because I think that's the angle he should have played, just to try to get reasonable doubt. I don't think this guy's innocent at all, but I think that this guy, he failed big time in trying to create reasonable doubt. And I think it was tough. I'm not defending Chauvin at all. I don't think
Chauvin failed big time at preserving life. That's his job.
I don't think Mike is defending him either.
That's not his job. His job is to serve and protect.
His job is to serve and protect and preserve life. That's literally the job of every police officer in this country.
Only if you're not black.
No.
Only if you're not black.
Not only, if you're not black. Show me where that's written in the police officer's code of ethics.
Where is it written in the police officer's code of ethics that there's a blue wall of silence and you don't testify against your fellow officers? Where is it written?
What do you mean wall of silence? Do you know how many officers testified against Derek Chauvin in the trial?
Because they had to. Do you know that there's a police chief in Boston who was repeatedly investigated by internal affairs for molesting children, but they left him on the force?
Were you just deflecting and going to
No, I'm just, you're saying that the blue wall of silence doesn't exist. Where is that written in a police code of ethics? That it's been well established that police officers do not rat on each other.
No, not at all. There's been plenty of
it's not
rat on each other, and in this case in particular too.
No, and they didn't rat on each other. They were ordered to testify.
I just want to say, Dennis Franz made a career out of that fucking plot line.
So that's another thing that I think hurt the defense, was that the passenger in the car with Floyd would not take the stand because of possibly incriminating himself. And I think that hurt him too, because they could have gone more towards the, they believe that this guy was, there were stories that this guy was the drug dealer and that's why he's not testifying and whatever. But like, this guy, the bottom line is the DA big time dropped the ball on casting reasonable doubt, because that's all he had to do. Like, look at total different case, OJ. Johnny Cochran just had to give reasonable doubt. And there were so many things that caught between Furman, the planted DNA, that there was enough there that jury members would be like, you know what, he might have done it, but I don't think he did both of them, or maybe he didn't act alone. There was enough things there that I don't think that the DA found enough things to try to justify that there was a reasonable doubt that it was that he died directly because of Chauvin. And that's where that guy big time.
I mean, there was also the OJ trial, there wasn't a video of him stabbing Nicole and Ron for 9 minutes and 29 seconds that they showed.
Right.
That was also missing from the OJ
No,
trial.
I saw the one with Marcus Allen.
Al Cowlings.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it boils down to, is no matter what, you can talk about the nuances of the law. This guy clearly did not give a shit that he was killing somebody. And that's the bottom. We watched it.
The intent to kill George Floyd that day. That's why those two
charges. I'm sure he didn't. Listen, whether he intended to or not, intent depends on when. Like, I almost felt like watching.
At the very least, that third-degree murder charge is invalid.
I almost thought.
At the very least. And my point is, he's guilty of contributing to the death of George Floyd. But they found him guilty on all three because they knew what would happen if they didn't. And that's my position. There's no
but you're not a juror, so you're just making things up.
No, I'm not a juror. I'm a guy sitting in my basement doing a podcast.
Okay.
I'm
you're
telling
saying
you,
like they did this because they were threatened. Nobody threatened them.
I'm telling you,
you're making
this
up
is my
fictitious
opinion.
threats.
It's my opinion. I'm not stating facts. This is my opinion. I'm allowed to have opinion on a fucking podcast that 8 people are listening to. All right.
There's
13.
You
can have an opinion on something that either did or didn't happen. Either it happened, and that's actually jury tampering is against the law and a very serious crime, or it didn't happen. So either someone threatened them or someone didn't threaten them. So you can't have an opinion on something that actually did or did not happen.
Nobody threatened them. They felt threatened. They knew what would happen. They knew what would happen. They know what would happen. Huh?
What would happen? Somebody was going to come and beat them up?
If they did not find him guilty on all 3 charges, fucking New York City, Minneapolis will be on fire right now. I guarantee you. And if you don't think that, then you are part of the problem.
That guy killed a guy out of an air of superiority. That's what happened. And you could see it. You could see it in his face.
The death of a guy.
You could see it in his fucking face. That air of superiority, looking and telling people to step back. And no, I'm not taking my knee off his neck. I'm fucking Johnny Law around here. He might as well have screamed, "King Kong ain't got shit on me," because that's how that shit went down.
And he's guilty of manslaughter. I totally agree with you.
No, he knew that he was killing him and he didn't care.
When did he say that?
He didn't need to say it because, like I said, you kneel on someone's neck, you deprive them of oxygen for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, you're killing them.
Fentanyl deprived him of oxygen.
How does fentanyl deprive you of oxygen?
He's having a panic attack because he's high on fentanyl.
Well, I'd have a panic attack if somebody was kneeling on my neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds too.
Excuse me?
I'd have a panic attack if someone was kneeling on my neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds.
Whether he was an addict or not.
We'll find that out soon enough.
Whether he was an addict or not, that guy did not deserve the fucking treatment that he got, and he ended up dead.
I don't disagree with that at all.
And yes,
passing a fake $20 bill is not a death penalty eligible offense.
We all agree with that.
Resisting arrest is not a death penalty eligible offense.
Doesn't agree with that, Carla.
Okay, but
there's not one person that doesn't agree with that. That's just another talking point, another liberal Rolodex bullshit.
Apparently you don't agree with that. Apparently you think if you're high on drugs and you commit a crime and you get killed because of the color of your skin, you shouldn't have resisted arrest. Because you had fentanyl in your body, and you know what? So maybe you die.
There were several factors that contributed to his death, and it's
the biggest one.
You know what the main factor was? Derek Chauvin.
The second biggest one being that he was black.
Every day we go through life with contributing factors that are going to result in our death eventually. Every single one of us. All right. I'm a slob. I'm surprised my heart hasn't exploded now. I have fucking high blood pressure and I'm angry all the time.
Resisting arrest led to him getting a knee on his neck. But you know what? That's
the thing of it is there's only one person in America that should be defending, maybe 2, okay, including himself, defending Derek Chauvin, and that's his fucking attorney. This guy, we all watched what happened.
I don't think there is anybody defending Derek Chauvin.
But the arguments being made of, well, the only reason he got convicted of everything is because of this is almost, again, I know you don't think so, but that's my opinion. If that's how you feel, that's fine, but you're absolutely wrong. I mean, I'll tell you that right now. Okay. I'm just telling you how it's coming off. All right. That's how it's coming off. So if I'm taking it the wrong way, then I'm taking it the wrong way.
It's coming off to everybody.
What?
It's how it's coming off to everybody.
It's how it's coming off to you and you.
It's how it's coming off to everybody.
No.
Yes.
Everybody? Did you interview everybody in the world?
I'm just letting you know that it's just a bad look.
It's not a bad look. That's how I feel. That's how a lot of people feel. That's how a lot of people feel.
Yeah. A lot of racist white people feel that way. A lot of
everybody white
who are in favor of invading the Capitol. A lot of Trump supporters feel that way. A lot of Proud Boys feel that way. A lot of Boogaloo Boys feel that way.
A lot of people,
all of those people. Yes, a lot of Fox News watchers feel that.
A lot of people with functioning brains feel that way, Carla.
That's if that's who you want to be aligned with. That's who you want to be aligned with. That's fine. You had a whole guest.
That's not a bad Trump.
Last week, who sat here and spoke to you for an hour.
I was looking down and I heard it. I'm like, wait a minute.
Still going, Carl. Still going.
You invited somebody on the podcast last week. That
I
for an
invited
hour and a half
podcast and we were doing
you,
shtick together.
For an hour and a half, explained to you that you sound like an asshole and you're making yourself unbookable and unlikable. But now you want to go back to it today? Whatever.
That's called shtick, Carla. We were doing.
No, it's not called shtick. It's called, being racist and looking like an asshole. That's what it's called.
That's
so
what
at some point, I'm not sure who has to tell you
that
this is the wrong way to be. I'm not sure how many people have to tell you this.
It's gonna be so much fun. This is exactly what I was hoping for.
But you're so desperate to remain the big fish in the small pond of Long Island. You're so desperate to
don't care about comedy. Comedy's dead anyway.
You want to appeal to the lowest common denominator.
I don't care about it. Comedy isn't real.
Okay, that's fine, but you're desperate to remain the Prince of Long Island, so you stick with these
care about
ugly
Long
views,
comedy.
so that every Moose Lodge and every fucking VFW will have you, and they'll all fucking cheer for you when you walk in.
I do comedy because I like.
You'll be like a Chinaman ate a bat, and they're like.
I like eating Big ZD at the Elks Lodge. That's why I do comedy. Comedy sucks. It's stupid. It's not real. My job is real.
Stop doing it. So quit.
Is the ZD at the Elk Lodge legit good?
Why are you doing
Big ZD and meatballs?
Stop doing it. If it's legit and it's not real, why do you keep doing it?
Because people book me. You know what?
Well, if you don't stop booking, you
people
tell
don't want me to
like it.
People don't want me to.
It's not real. You don't like it.
Be funnier than me. But
I don't like it. I don't like it. It's not real.
It can't be funnier than me. There's a lot of people that can't be funnier than me. People need to get better.
They might want to do it.
Then I'll go away. Then I'll go away.
I thought you were going to slip into Dominic Mozzarella for a second.
Right now, the shareholders have not called. Like the shareholders so far have not called for you to resign as CEO of Adorability.
I have a show at the meatball store.
I think though, I think
that just hit me.
I'm not speaking on behalf of Mike. I think race aside, I think that given the climate for the last several years, we had after the Rodney King beatings, the riots, OJ, there were still times of turmoil, racial turmoil, turmoil with police and race. This was not the first defining moment where since then, but I think a lot of the last couple of years have been shitty. That I think a lot of people have had enough. I don't believe that they voted guilty on all three because of fear that it could happen, but I wouldn't doubt that some of them may have been worried. Like, wow, like in retrospect, imagine like I wouldn't think that at least one juror had that in the back of their mind. Not saying that swayed their vote. I'm not saying that, but I think it had to have been at least one juror, even if it was somebody that was interviewed, worried, because I feel like my job as the juror is to really prove to me that I should have a reasonable doubt. If I'm not convinced and I'm like, the guy's guilty, I still would be concerned what the other jurors are going to vote, because not that we're the reason cities are going to be burned. It would be another case that upsets people that they want to show that they're upset. But I think that a lot of people were worried. Race has nothing to do with it. A lot of people were worried during the OJ trial that if he was found guilty, there was a risk of there being another series of riots. I don't think that I'm not trying to speak on behalf of Mike. I don't think that Mike is saying it where it's a racist thing. And I know you can point fingers and say, because I'm white too, that it must be that I'm just defending him. I honestly believe, because I'm not a Republican.
You can have white hair.
But I wear my privilege under my hat. I really think though that at some point that had to be, when you're told you're going to be in a case and then you find out what happens and you know a little bit about it, I'm sure, knowing already that there's been protests and stuff like that, there's got to be at least some point during the trial that a juror had to at some point think like, oh my God, like when this is over, you know, like I'm sure they're like, our lives, like I can't see any of them, even with a clear conscience, voting guilty, thinking that like at some point they're not, like that everything's just going to go back to normal the next day. They're just going back to their regular stupid job or whatever they do. Like they had to have known how significant this case is. You know, I don't think that fear of riots stuff swayed them to vote that way, but I think that at some point it had to have crossed their mind, at least one of them. I don't think that's saying that doesn't make you a racist. You know, having a difference of opinion from someone, no, but having a difference of opinion from someone in certain things doesn't automatically label you that. You know,
here's the thing. We like, I know where Mike's coming from and what he's getting at, but I'm telling you that how it's going to be perceived, and whether, and he might not give a shit, and that's fine. And if he doesn't give a shit, then that's his call. But I'm gonna give him the option that, okay, dude, I don't know if this is how some people might perceive that. You may know that already, or you may not. That's, but I'm gonna give you the heads up.
That's their problem. Not
okay.
Mine.
All right.
That's how I feel.
All right. So that's why I brought it up. I don't necessarily think what he was getting at was racist. I do think that, like, you know, any type of defense seemingly looks like a defense of the action, and I know we've had this discussion with all of us, and I know that's not how you feel. I know you know that he's
the whitest alabaster person that ever lived on the ground, and I feel the same exact way. So,
but I think also because of, again, the environment, but the environment that we're in, the time that we're living in, a lot of this stuff is brought up to light. You know, it's a topic that does resonate with everybody, regardless of race. You know, you can look one way and automatically be labeled and pigeonholed one thing, whether it's politics or religion or sports teams. Islanders won. So
Yankees won too.
They did?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I know.
The Bronx supremacists.
Unreal.
Well, thing is, I mean, I'm like, I couldn't wait for them to get past the Tampa Bay and Toronto.
Yeah.
But still, the Braves aren't slouches themselves.
Mm-mm.
But once they get out of there and they start playing some easier teams, I think they'll get back into a groove. And
yeah.
Carla, comment?
No, but this is it's
Yankees are racist.
No, but it's a topic that all of us have some kind of opinion. Doesn't mean that all of us are right, that one opinion is more informed than another. We're all gonna come from it from a different perspective. But sometimes we immediately we may feel stronger than somebody else, and it can be misinterpreted, if that makes sense.
The thing is, I'll never know that perspective, though, like what it's like to have to like, whether you live in fear of either your neighborhood or the police or whatever. Like, I'll never have to know that, and it's, you start trying to put yourself in other people's shoes. Like, that's with everything going on, it's got to be just the most awful thing. It's almost like, that's a bad one. Never mind. I'm gonna eject from what I was gonna say, because it's probably gonna come out how Mike was just trying. The bottom line is, I will never know what it's like to be black in America, and I'm going to take the word of people who are for what it's like. So, whether I think it's fair or unfair, and valid or not,
and it's also probably got to be exhausting when someone doesn't know something you've been privy to for a long time, and they speak with an opinion on it. we're all going to have opinions on it. If somebody tells me that nobody cares about hockey, for example, totally stupid comparison, but when it's something that you've been surrounded in, it's part of your
say honkies.
Me, what was I gonna say? Part of your personality, like being your god, que se caco personal. Like there's certain things that there's something that you're passionate about, where it's an interest or an experience. When somebody that doesn't know what you've experienced tries to express that, it's kind of like the A-B conversation from middle school. You should see your way out. If when you're in a relationship and your friend tries to comment that person's bad news, like, I wish you'd mind your own business. You don't know what it's like. This is on a much more elevated, personal, deeper level. But it's important that we have these discussions so that people understand where we're all coming from. I don't think anyone here is trying to say we know what it's like growing up there and everything George Floyd did was wrong. The stuff that we know drug use is bad. We know resisting arrest is bad. We know trying to argue, but we also don't know every other thing that's been going on. Like I've been pulled over. I've been pulled over because I had to speed, and they said, "Do I pulled you over?" Yeah, I was going fast. Do you know how fast you're going? I know I was going like about 70, but honestly, I'm about to shit my pants. That's why I'm going fast.
We've all been there.
Yeah, and the police officer laughed and was like, "Go, like, where I got pulled up. They're like, you're 5 minutes from home. Drive safe. Keep it under 65." Mm-hmm. And I did. I can't say the same person that doesn't look like. It was a photo finish, but I made it home. But this another person that doesn't necessarily look like me, because not everyone is as loving,
strikingly handsome,
face. Right? So you, I don't know anyone else. One of my own friends could have been pulled over and maybe just has resting bitch face, and or has a tattoo.
She's
on
right
their
here,
arm.
Will.
Huh?
She's right here.
No, what I'm saying, like, you could have, like, they could have a total different disposition on it because of their experience, and if I said that, like, well, that didn't happen to me, I don't know what that's like, because the one time it happened, I was just, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't, if they were gonna give me a ticket, I'll take the ticket and just be like, look, I'm sorry, but again, if you feel you're constantly being pulled over and constantly harassed, I could get people having a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
What you're saying is George Floyd should have just said he had to take a shit.
When he was in the deli, maybe he should have said that. Because, dude, that video in the deli, I thought they fast forwarded and sped it up. I didn't realize he really was moving like that. And I don't get why the deli. I don't get why they didn't try to just call like paramedics or something and say this guy's on something, unless they're just trying to get him out of the store.
Yeah, even the deli owner, he said, worker there, whatever it was, he said he regretted calling the cops. Yeah,
well, that's the thing though. It's got to be, that has to weigh so heavy on every single person. Even the guy that's an MMA, the MMA trainer that was a witness.
Yeah,
even him, like, you could tell that the defense attorney was asking him questions to try to get a rise out of him. But he even said, like, well,
I try to put myself in the position of the people that were watching. I'm like, I would have knocked that Asian cop on his ass, and I probably would have been shot. I probably would have been shot to death. I would have knocked that Asian cop on his ass, just standing there like a fucking idiot. I would have kicked Derek Chauvin in his dick. But
yeah,
I don't know. But and then in hindsight, everyone that watched was probably like, "Oh, I should have done that too," and they feel guilty. Like, so it's.
But and again, every person that's there, regardless of their color, they're all witnessing this through different eyes and life experiences, that I don't think any two of those people that were on the sidewalk felt 100% the same way, because like I have family that are police officers. I've always respected the police, and if something happens, you know, you be respectful. You get a ticket, you know, you pay your fine. So from my point of view, that's like been ingrained in me. But if I saw a person, I would probably look to everybody else like shouldn't we do something? Like, what should we do? Not necessarily that mean we should overtake the people that have guns on their hips, but like I'm sure every person on that sidewalk, that's gonna live with them forever. Like we should have done something. I could have done something like other than record it. You know, like what else could we have done?
They couldn't have done something because that guy would have killed them because he was a fucking murderer.
Yeah. We're almost out of the time where it's going to pop off. I will say one thing quick, if you don't mind. I think my grandfather once said to me, you know, there's a time to speak up, and then there's a time to shut your fucking ass and listen. And I think this is one of those times where we just need to fucking shut up and listen to what people are going through out there. And whether there's validity to it or not, I don't have to walk in their shoes. All right? Because I happen to be born white. So I can't ever experience what they have to experience. So I'm going to take their word for it. I'm going to shut my fucking mouth, and I'm going to take their word for what's going on, and then I'm going to try to see how we all can fix it and move forward. And if we start parsing out, well, maybe it's not so black and white, and then we're never going to say, hey, listen, you know, we got to make some fucking blanket changes here, and you know, it's like any other job, okay? When they make blanket changes, and there's new people to come in, and they make fucking changes, and they, you know, and you just deal. But the bottom line is, we can't not do anything, and we can't be the ones to lead. We have to listen. That's just how I feel.
Right. And basically what I'm trying to say is everyone should get tickets to McGuire's Comedy Club. Go to govs.com.
We really just sold that one.
But the point of this whole thing was to say 8:00 p.m. May 14th, McGuire's Comedy Club. Get your tickets on govs.com right now. It's gonna be a fun night. Hey, Will, you were Yoda for a minute.
Alternatively,
Tim was pouring his heart out to us, and Will turned into Yoda.
And Will left.
Laughing like an idiot.
Alternatively, if you disagree with Mike,
it's Ric Flair on Yoda's face.
If you disagree with Mike and you don't want to come out on the 14th of May, you can come out on the 21st of May.
I'll be out on the 14th of May. So if you want to come out and see me, I'll be out the 14th of May.
I heard, Tim, no, I had to go to the bathroom. I heard what you said. I was waiting for the take care of yourselves and each other.
Oh, hand to God, I swear to God, when you disappeared and turned into Yoda, I was like, Will just ran off to take a shit.
No, I handled that before.
All right, we got to wrap it up. Thank you, Govs Radio. Thank you, Will, for coming on. And it was a heavy night.
Thanks, Will. That was fun, man.
Thanks for having me out. Listen, I'm glad and honored you asked me to come on the night that something huge happened in the city, and I'm glad we could tell jokes for a brief moment. Jeff Bosey learned how to share on Facebook. That's a big deal.
That's a big deal. He's a big boy now. He can share on Facebook.
Let's go, Islanders. All right.
He's all grown up.
Good night, everybody.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Domestic Disturbance Podcast, and if you didn't, even better. You can show us your disdain by sharing the show from iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Though honestly, nobody uses Google Play. Check out our Facebook page for any upcoming comedy shows or appearances from Carla, Mike, and Tim. Also, don't forget to check out our favorite band, Bore, on Spotify, or purchase their new EP, Bore 2, on iTunes or Bandcamp. We'll see you next week, Rageaholics.